9 of the NFL season starts tonight with the Ravens and the Dolphins going at it down in Miami. No doubt, both teams need a big win. And will this be the rise of the Ravens from the ashes now that Lamar Jackson will be back in the lineup tonight? We're going to preview that matchup tonight. Plus, I'm going to give you my top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL as of right now. College football got some big matchups again, as usual. But I'm going to tell you which couple of teams need a win to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. Forget conference, the college football playoff hopes. We're going to delve into that a little bit. And we're going to look at the NBA. We're a little over a week into the season. And I'm going to tell you who I think is a surprise team in the league and who I think is a little bit struggling coming out the gate. We're going to get into all that right here in the Sports Ozone. Greetings and salutations. Big O with the big mouth coming at you in the Total Sports Ozone for October 30th, 2025. Let's delve right into it. Tonight, NFL Week 9 starts with the Baltimore Ravens taking a trip down to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. Lamar Jackson will be back. That's a good sign. I'm pretty sure all the Ravens fans will be thrilled to see number 8 back in the lineup. Will this help them? I definitely think it'll help them. But will Lamar Jackson's return spearhead the Ravens to a playoff run? Maybe even to steal the division from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said earlier this week in one of my earlier shows, the Steelers are only 4-3. Ravens are 2-5. They're only 2 games back. And both teams play each other 2 times later on in the season. So, with Lamar Jackson back, and if he's Lamar Jackson that we know, the MVP type quarterback that we've known him to be over the last few years, can the Ravens catch the Steelers and steal the AFC North Division? Can the Ravens return to being a favorite to come out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl? Well, I definitely think Lamar Jackson's presence will help. Because now you got to account for him in the run game with the RPO. And I think it will help Derrick Henry. Because again, you got to account for both those players when they're on the field. You have to. And I believe Derrick Henry's numbers will rise. And, he's been a little bit pedestrian this year as opposed to the Derrick Henry 2,000 yards last year. This year, he's been a bit pedestrian. And I think it's because Lamar Jackson hasn't been in the lineup for the last 3 games. Because when Lamar Jackson's on the field, now you got to account for him because he can take off and run at any time. Or he can fake the run, make you think he's running, and he can throw it over the top. And he does have weapons. Trey Flowers, Bateman, his tight end, Mark Andrews. He has weapons. So now you got to worry about him. And now that will open everything up for Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry has caused the problem with the little case of the yips he's been having, fumbling the ball and whatnot. But I think those two, they complement each other very well. So with him back on the field, the defense is going like, uh-oh. Yes, uh-oh. You got to account for both number 8 and number 22 at the same time. So that's going to put a little more pressure on defenses. Now, yes, Lamar Jackson is prone to being sacked if he holds on to that ball too long. But then again, if he finds a hole, pew, he can be gone. You have to account for him. My problem with the Ravens, the offense should pick up with number 8 back on the field for the Ravens. My problem is their defense. Their defense is nothing like the Ravens' defenses that you and I know from the years past with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs and the like. This defense is awful. They're giving up almost 35 points a game. If this defense is up now, they had a pretty good showing last week against the Bears. But overall, this defense is, I don't know which defense is worse in the AFC North. I don't know which one. It's weird. You got the Ravens, you got the Steelers. Both their defenses are just god awful. Yet the Steelers are sitting 4-3, Baltimore's 2-5, and Baltimore has a really good excuse for why they've been 2-5, other than the defense, is just the quarterback's been out. You know, the team with the best defense in the AFC North is the Browns, and they're sitting at the bottom of the well at 2-6. So my concern with the Ravens is, will their defense pick up? They're like 30th in the league in points per game. They're like 30th in the league in yards allowed. You know, they only have the 30th in the league in sacks. They only have 9 sacks on the season. And the 28th in defensive interceptions. They only have 2. 2 interceptions. The defense has to step it up. And then I don't know what the problem is with their defense. Maybe it's injuries. Maybe it's scheme. The scheme is not meshing with the talent they have on their defense. But if the Ravens are serious about making a run at the Steelers and stealing the AFC North title from them, their defense has to turn the corner. And you're going against a Dolphins team. Yeah, they blitzed the Falcons. Now, and you got people wondering, was that an anomaly? Or did the Dolphins finally turn the corner? I don't know. But the week before, they got trounced by the Browns. And then they come back, and the Falcons is a lot better than the Browns offensively. And the Falcons just got blitzed by the Miami Dolphins in Atlanta. So, will the real Miami Dolphins team please stand up? That's where we're at with the Dolphins. 1 week you're getting blitzed by the Browns, and the next week you're blitzing the Atlanta Falcons. Which team are we going to see tonight from the Dolphins? Are we going to see the Browns blitzing them, or are we going to see them blitzing the Falcons, Dolphins? Which one? Now, Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, and their coach, Mike McDaniel, they're not on the same page. They haven't been on the same page pretty much all year. And I know the Dolphins lost Tyreek Hill, but they still got a plethora of weapons. You got Jalen Waller. You got a chain. And they put it on the Falcons. And now this game, they're at home. And playing against a not so great, as a matter of fact, very, very weak Ravens defense. But then again, will Lamar Jackson make a difference? How much of a difference will he make being back on the field on both sides of the ball? Because now when you got the Ravens scoring points like they used to, will the Ravens, will that help the Ravens? You know, what they call complementary football. Offense is complementing the defense and helping the defense. They don't have to work as hard. Will that help? We're going to see. Because regardless, it's needless to say that both these teams need to win. Well, I mean, they're sitting at the bottom of their divisions or near the bottom of their division. I know the Dolphins are last in their division, and the Ravens are second to last. So both these teams need to win to even have a chance of salvaging their season. Because not too many teams go 2-6, 2-7, end up going to the playoffs. I think in all of the NFL, if I saw a stat right, in all the NFL history, only 5 teams have ever started 2-5 or worse and made the playoffs. 5. So needless to say, both these teams are desperate for a win. They need to stack wins. Ravens definitely the Ravens definitely need to stack some wins. And now that they got Lamar Jackson back, how long? And then this is another question. Now that they got Lamar Jackson back, how long will it take for him and Derrick Henry and Trey Flowers and Bateman and Andy? How long will it take for that core group, to get the chemistry back? I hope they can get it back tonight, or at least some semblance of that back tonight. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't care for neither one of these teams. But the Ravens were a, preseason favorite for a lot of prognosticators and sports analysts to come out of the AFC. So to say they need to win more than the Dolphins is moot. That answer is moot. Both these teams need to win, but if the Ravens want to turn this season around and turn it into the season they were hoping it to be, they need to win this game tonight. Lamar Jackson's back, got all the pieces, not all of their pieces back on offense. Their defense really needs to step their game up, though. Defense. We'll see. Game kicks off 8:15 Eastern, and I believe it's on Amazon Prime. It should be a good game. I'm thinking it's going to be a good game now that Lamar Jackson's back, but we'll see what happens. Now, let's move on in the ozone. College football, let's jump to gears, shift the gears. Oh, no, we ain't shifting yet. We're not shifting yet. I got to deliver my top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL as of week 9. My top 5 quarterbacks from 5 to 1. Number 5, I'm going to put Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield. To me, he's an MVP candidate. I believe my 5 quarterbacks that I'm going to give you are all MVP candidates as of right now. But my number 5 is Baker Mayfield. He's probably the most clutch quarterback so far this season in the NFL. He's the Bucks are 6-2. 4 of those games, Baker Mayfield led game-winning drives for the Bucks to either take the lead by a field goal or a touchdown. And so right now he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. 4 of their 6 wins have come down to the wire, either the last game or last play or next to last play. And Baker Mayfield has delivered, and he has done this without his full complement of weapons. Mike Evans hasn't played much this year. Chris Godwin was hurt. Emeka Egbuka was nursing a hamstring. So he hasn't had his full complement of receivers. And yet he's still finding ways to win. So Baker Mayfield is my number 5. My number 4 is Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. He got weapons, and he's hitting them. That's what makes it good. He spreads the ball around. That's what I like about Jared Goff. He just ain't keen on one receiver. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got Gibbs. He's got Montgomery. He's got Matt Laporte. He's got all kind of weapons, and he makes sure all of them eat. That's what I like about Jared Goff. He takes care of the ball for the most part. He takes care of the ball, and with all those weapons he has, he makes sure all of them get a little piece of the pie. And that's what I like. You got to like how the Detroit Lions offense works. Everybody eats. And it's just not the running game dominating or the passing game dominating. It's like they merge together and dominate at the same time. And like I said, everybody eating. On that offense, everybody eats. And I like to see that. So that's why I got Jared Goff, because he spreads the wealth. He ain't greedy. He spreads the wealth around to all those targets. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably his favorite target. And he should be. He's developing to one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. But don't forget about Gibbs. Don't forget about Montgomery. Don't forget about Laporta. Don't forget about Williams. Everybody on this offense eats. So you better have a lot of flatware for him. And Jared Goff, he delivers it. He make sure you get a little something. You get a little something. Hey, man, you're going to get a little something. Hey, over there, you're going to get a little something. Go deep. You're going to get a little something. Everybody eats with Jared Goff as quarterback on the Lions. That's why I got him at my number 4 quarterback. Number 3, I had to think about this one. I wanted to flip it. I wanted to say it was Josh Allen, but he has struggled a little bit. So I had to swap out Josh Allen and put in Matthew Stafford. Matt is just steady. I mean, he's got weapons and everything, but he doesn't get flustered when the game gets tight. He doesn't get flustered when there's a little bit of adversity on the team. He just does what he do. Get the ball to whoever's open. And that's the mark of a veteran. He's a veteran. Been around, 15, 16 years now? That's the mark of a true veteran. He knows just what to do and when to do it. And he's just steady, and he's got the Rams sitting at 5-6-2. So you gotta like Matthew Stafford. As long as he stays healthy, Rams gonna be right there. They're going to be right there in the playoff mix in the NFC. So I had to pull Josh Allen out of there and put Matt Stafford as my number 3. Now, number 2 quarterback in all the NFL is still going to be Dak Prescott. Yes, he didn't look good. Yes, he did not look good against Denver. But I don't blame Dak for that. I blame the fact that his defense couldn't stop a cold if they had NyQuil. They couldn't stop nothing. They couldn't guard a door if they had the keys. And Dak had to do too much. See, that's the problem with the Cowboys. That's the problem. Nope, they don't play complimentary football. They can't, because their defense stinks. And Dak Prescott has to do he has to be an otherworldly quarterback just for the Cowboys to have a chance to win. If their defense doesn't even have to be average. It could be below average. It just can't be a dumpster fire. If it was just below average, with Dak Prescott leading that offense, they could challenge for a playoff spot, if not the division. Dak Prescott's having that kind of year. But it's going to be all for now that the defense doesn't get out their head out their ass. And right now, their head is way up their booty. That's on Jerry Jones. We're not gonna go into all that. We know what he did. He knew what he did. So we're not gonna go into all that. We don't need to. We just don't need to. But Dak Prescott is having a hell of a season. Now that he got CD Lamb back, it's going to get even better. I believe it's going to get better. They can run the ball really well, and Dak Prescott is surprisingly, he's not throwing too many interceptions, especially in the red zone. He's finding the receiver. He got two great receivers, in George Pickens and CD Lamb, and the tight end Ferguson. I mean, he's letting all his weapons eat. And the thing is, Dak Prescott has to have that kind of season because the defense is not going to help them out too much. So he's got to put up points, and he's been doing that. So I got Dak Prescott number 2. Some of y'all like, how are you gonna have Dak number 2 and then 3-4-1? Well, they're 3-4-1 because of defense, man. The defense stinks. It's next to last in almost every statistical category. But you can't blame Dak for that. Dak doing everything he can, but he can't play defense. So you can't blame him for the Cowboys' struggles. You cannot. If any Cowboys fan blame Dak, you've not been watching Cowboys games this year. It's their defense. And until their defense just takes 2 steps up the ladder, they ain't gotta go from god awful to elite in a couple of weeks. They just gotta go from god awful to mediocre to below average. Show us that they're going in the right direction. And like I said, the trade and here's the crazy thing, getting a little bit off topic. Trade deadline for the Cowboys, for the NFL is, I believe, next Tuesday. And I'm still, I was yelling at this, I believe Monday. Jerry Jones, if you're watching, if you're listening, please, for the love of Pete, for the Cowboys fans, for Cowboys Nation, make a trade. Do something. Don't just sit on your laurels and just think this defense is going to miraculously turn around. It needs help. It needs help. Get a marquee player on that defensive end. They're out there. Make a trade. You got 2 first-round picks. You probably you and your people probably don't know what you're going to do with them. Make a trade. If you can't get Myles Garrett, get Max Crosby. Get the guy from Cincinnati, Henry. Get somebody. Somebody that will give the other team's offensive line a moment of pause. That might even command a double team. That's all you need, because you got no pass rush. The only pass rusher you had on your team you traded, now you got to get one back. If you want to have any chance of making the playoffs, because you got 6 teams that you're going to have to leap or get close to even get close to challenging for a playoff spot. And with that defense, it's not going to happen unless you make a change. Unless you make an impact trade at this trade deadline. If you just sit back and say, I have faith in our defense. No, the hell with that. You got to make a move. You got to make a move, and you got what? 5-6 days left to make that move. Please, Jerry Jones. And I don't benefit. I ain't gonna benefit from this. Because I'm not a big time rah-rah shishkumbah Cowboys fan. But I'm tired of looking at this team on defense and just good Lord. I flipped the channel, gave up 7 points, flipped it again, they gave up 24. Get some help on that defense, Jerry Jones, please. It's on you. It ain't on the coaches. It ain't on the players. It's on you. You made this mess on defense. You need to fix it. And you got 5-6 days to do so. All I'm going to say about that, if you want the Cowboys to even sniff the playoffs this season, you better get some help on defense, like now. And you know it. All right, getting back on topic. That was my number 2, Dak Prescott. So we got my number 5 is Baker Mayfield. My number 4 is Jared Goff. My number 3, Matt Stafford. My number 2, Dak Prescott. My number 1 quarterback, still Pat Mahomes. It's still Pat Mahomes. He's still a wizard out there. And now that he has all his weapons healthy and on the field, watch out. AFC West, AFC in conference as a whole, watch out. He's going to, like I said before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it again until somebody prove me wrong. You cannot dismiss Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You cannot do it. Not yet. You can't do it. They are still the defending AFC champions until somebody knocks them off. And yes, they had a slow start, but now they got their weapons back. He's got his Rashid Rice back. He's got Xavier Worthy back from injury. He's still got Travis Kelce and Andy Reid running the show. You cannot dismiss Patrick Mahomes. You do that at your own peril. Because I believe they've won 3 in a row, and they haven't even took a sweat doing it. I think their average margin of victory the last 3 games is what, 20, 22 points? So they're blowing out teams again. It's going to be interesting this weekend when they take a trip to Orchard Park to take on the Buffalo Bills, and you have the 2 best quarterbacks in the AFC going at it, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Is going to be an interesting matchup. But I still believe in Pat Mahomes. I will never not believe in him until he's either hurt or he tends to hang it up. He is the number 1 quarterback in the AFC right now, and he has been for the last few years. And he's my number 1 quarterback as of right now. He's got the Chiefs rolling, and it don't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. So that's my top 5 with Patrick Mahomes staring down everybody else. What do you think? You think there's another quarterback I should have put in the top 5? Think one of my top 5 should be left out? Drop me a line. Hit me up with a comment. And please like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. I would definitely appreciate it. And I would be thankful for it too. You're watching and listening to the Total Sports Ozone with the big O with the big mouth. All right, now we're going to flip it to college football. Some good matchups this weekend. Of course, there's always going to be good matchups, especially now that we're on the backside of the second half, starting right into the second half of the season. So pretty much every game is important from here on out for a whole lot of teams, especially a lot of teams in the current AP Top 25. But I got 2 teams that need, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to say it one more time, need to win this weekend to keep their hopes up for a college football playoff spot. One of them is Texas. And they need to win. I know they got 2 losses, but and they almost took a third. I mean, it took a Herculean effort to beat Mississippi State, but they did. I'll be honest. I thought when they played Mississippi State and it was, what was it, 28-7 or something like that. I thought the game was 38-10. I thought the game was over. I thought, oh well, there goes Texas season. They won't be in the playoffs. You lose to Mississippi State, you can forget it. That's that, and that will be their third loss. That's it. It's all over with for them. They came back. I got to give it up to Arch Manning. I know he might got banged up, but he led the comeback. He brought them back from the dead. He brought them back from the dead to get a big time win. Big time win. But they got to keep it going. They got to keep it going. They're playing in Texas. I believe their record is 6-2. Yep, they're 6-2. So they've already took 2 L's. One of them, one of the losses is not going to hurt them because it was on the road at number 1 Ohio State. But when they lost to Florida, that's the one stung. The win at Oklahoma at the Red River rivalry in the Cotton Bowl helped, but they can't afford another loss. And they got the number 9 team in the country coming into their house this weekend. That's Vanderbilt. Yes, Vanderbilt. Yes, I stutter. I said Vanderbilt. Number 9 team in the country coming into their house. Texas cannot afford to drop this game. If they do, season's over. No college football playoff. Forget about the SEC. No, they're 3-1 in conference. But they lose this game, they pretty much gonna lose a bunch of tiebreakers. And then they're gonna go back to the SEC championship game. So they need this game. And the problem is, we won't know until probably about game time. If tomorrow at the earliest, if Arch Manning is going to be able to play. But he's still nursing that, what was that, back injury when he suffered against Mississippi State. I mean, all reports and everything points that he's getting better, but we still don't know. We still don't know. At last I checked, it's going to be a game time decision whether Arch Manning starts that game or not. But Texas needs this game. No matter who starts, Texas needs this game to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. They lose this and they're done. Their season, for all intents and purposes, will be like a thank. They're going to a thank you for playing. Here's your consolation gift bowl. So Texas needs this game. Number 9 team is Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia coming in. Heisman Trophy candidate coming into Memorial Stadium in Austin. Texas got to be on the game, and they got to pull this win out however they can if they want to have any shot of staying in the college football playoff, of having a chance to go back to the college football playoff. They need this game. They need it. Another team that needs a win. I'm going to say it again. Needs a win this weekend to keep their hopes alive is Tennessee. That's right, the Vols. They got 2 losses too, and they're at home. They got 2 losses. They were good losses, but still they're 2. I mean, when I say good losses, they're quality losses. They lost to Georgia, let them come back and beat them, and they lost a close one, and they lost not a close one, but they lost on the road to Alabama. So those 2 quality losses, but still, with the plethora, of teams that already have 2 losses, that have 2 losses, and a plethora of teams that are in front of them in the SEC that only have one conference loss. Tennessee cannot afford another one. Tennessee cannot afford another conference loss. They have Texas, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, and Georgia ahead of them. They lose the tiebreaker with Georgia and with Alabama. If either one of those 2 teams end up losing 2 conference games, Tennessee loses the tiebreaker on them. But forget all that. You have 2 conference losses, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams ahead of you with only 1. You cannot afford to fall any further behind. Again, this is one of those games where it's an eliminator game. And who are they playing? They're at home against number 18, Oklahoma. If Tennessee wants to look good and be smiling and give the committee any little bit of thought about putting them in the 12-team playoff, they better win this game, and they better win this game handily. It can't be a loss. I don't think it can even be a close win. It has to be a solid, we ran away from them victory against Oklahoma this weekend. Now, I believe they can do it, but their defense has been, let's put it like this, shades of gray. It has some good points. I think it's fast. I think it's opportunistic, but it does give up big plays. They gave up big plays against Georgia. It gave up big plays against Alabama. It gave up big plays against Kentucky, even though they blow them out. But their defense is vulnerable to big plays. And Oklahoma, with Latier and the boys, they can put points on the board. Especially if Latier is fully healed from that thumb surgery he had. So the Tennessee's defense needs to step up. Like I said, this is a playoff eliminator for Tennessee. They lose this game, forget it. They're going to be one of those teams, one of them, thank you for playing, here's your consolation gift bowls. If they blow this game. So they got to step their game up as well. So those are my 2 teams this weekend that need wins. Tennessee and Texas. The double T's. Tennessee and Texas. Got to win this weekend. No ifs, ands, buts, maybes, or about it. They got to win this weekend. It's all over. No playoffs, probably no conference. All over. Big O with the big mouth and Total Sports Ozone. Now, we're going to flip it to the NBA. We haven't talked too much about the NBA. We're a little past a week into the season. And as I'm looking at the standings, I'm shocked. Yes. Eastern Conference. Everybody said it was going to be the Knicks. And then maybe the Cavaliers. And then everybody else get in where you fit in. Well, after a little over 1 week, we have 2 undefeated teams in the Eastern Conference. 2. It would surprise you that it ain't the Knicks and it ain't the Cavs. It's the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers. Both sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference at 4-0. What? How is this possible? The Bulls, the Sixers, 4-0? What done got into them? I'll tell you what got into them. With the Philadelphia 76ers, Tyrese Maxey. That boy is killing them. He's, I think, first or second in the league in scoring as of last night. And he is just killing them. He's damn near unguardable. He's just dunking the rim, hitting his open shots. Now, I forgot his name of his backcourt mate, Douglas or something like that. Them 2 have been balling. Them 2 have been getting it on against the other team's backcourts. And they've been killing them. Now, Philadelphia's off to a really good start, 4-0. Can they sustain it? Who knows? I think the only way they can sustain it is if Joel Embiid, a previous MVP winner, if he can stay healthy. If he stays healthy, ain't no telling what the Sixers can do. And when I say healthy with Joel Embiid, I mean playing at least 70 games. Not 75. He don't have to be an Iron Man, play all. We know he's not going to do that. Everybody know that. Everybody know Joel Embiid is not going to play all 82 games. Nah, we know that. 70 would do. In my eyes, 70 would do. I know they're going to rest him for this load management stuff. But 70 ball games out of Joel Embiid and what he brings to the table. That 25-12 with 3 blocks. And when Tyrese Maxey and the other guy in the backcourt handling their business the way it is, Sixers is going to be a problem. I'm letting y'all know right now, if Joel Embiid can stay healthy through the better part of this season, the Sixers are going to be a problem in the Eastern Conference. But it all hinges on Joel Embiid staying healthy. And like I said, 70 games. That's what I'm looking for from Embiid. 70 games at 20, 24, 24, 25 points, 12 rebounds a night. The Sixers will be a problem. The Chicago Bulls, Giddy, and they got Cora, and these guys, they playing together. They're playing, they're moving that ball around. I saw highlights of them playing against the Wizards the other night. They're moving the ball around. I like the way the ball just open man, and they're hitting their shots, and they're fearless against the boards. They're playing pretty good so far early this season. They really are. Out west, well, same old with the West. OKC Thunder starting off the season undefeated, 5-0. Hey, it seems like they're not going to be in there for that championship letdown that a lot of teams have after winning their first NBA championship. Nope, not this team. They're young, athletic, fast, play defense. This team is going to be right there. But right behind them in the Western Conference is the San Antonio Spurs sitting at 4-0. Now, Victor Wembanyama, if he keeps up the pace he's on right now, he's not only do I think he'll win MVP, but he'll also win Defensive Player of the Year. That's how good Victor Wembanyama has been playing so far. I mean, he's averaging 7 blocks a game. It's like, but you're not doing, you can't do nothing with him. He's averaging 7, what is it, blocks per game. Actually, he's averaging, he got 7 blocks the other night. He's averaging just a tad under 5 blocks a game. 5 blocks a game. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. So, yeah. And he's averaging 30, he's averaging, in games played, he's averaging 32 minutes. He's averaging 31 points a game. Victor Wembanyama. 31 points a game with 13 rebounds with 5 blocks. Those MVP numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Those are MVP type numbers. And if the Spurs keep going the way they've been going, but it all hinges on Wembanyama staying healthy. If he stays healthy, I think the Spurs will grab one of the top 4 seeds in the Western Conference if Wembanyama stays healthy. He's definitely going to win Defensive Player of the Year. 5, 6 blocks a game, you're going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And there ain't no doubt about that. You get 13 rebounds and averaging 5, 6 blocks a game. If you don't win Defensive Player of the Year, somebody's going to wonder why. And he's well on his way. And the Spurs, Like I said, when Biyama stay healthy with all that young talent around him and young talent that has developed and is still developing, they're going to be a problem out west. They will be a problem out west. No doubt about that. Now, let's look at the teams that we thought coming into the season was going to do some things and they ain't done much. One of them, they ain't done much. One of the teams I thought coming in the league was going to do something, ain't done much, is the Dallas Mavericks. Yep, the Mavs. They're sitting right now at 2-3, and Anthony Davis got hurt again last night. I swear, Anthony Davis, when he's on the court, he's a top 20 player. Top 20 player. When he's on the court and he's right, he's a top 20 player, no doubt about it. Problem is, you got to wrap him in like bubble wrap and keep him on the shelf every 2 to 3 weeks. Then let him out and play. Let him play a few games. Then wrap him up and bubble wrap again. He's that damn fragile. He's been like that ever since he's been in the league. Ever since he was way back when he was with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's been like that. Fragile. Can't stay on the... You sneeze on him. Achoo. And you don't say, bless you. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. That's Anthony Davis. And if I'm a Mavericks fan, I'm frustrated. I was like, why? You traded your best player for this guy who can't even stay on the court longer than 10 minutes? 20 minutes at best? Always getting hurt. I know he plays down low, power forward, or center, so you're going to get banged around a bit, but come on, man. Come on. Really? I mean, last year when he came to Dallas after the trade, he played 2.5 quarters, and then he was out for 2 weeks. Really? I mean, how fragile can you be? I thought out in the offseason he would go get in the weight room, get some little muscle on them arms or something, muscle on them legs. Do something to keep yourself in the game because the Mavericks need you. Without Anthony Davis, the Mavericks ain't gonna win. I don't want to hear about Cooper Flag. He's a rookie. He still has to show everybody. You need Anthony Davis to have a chance, and he can't stay on the court. And if he can't stay on the court, the Mavericks, there's not gonna be much hope for them. They're already one of the older teams in the league, but they got Cooper Flag. I mean, he can do so much, but he's a rookie. He's still learning the NBA game. I think he's going to be okay. I really do. Is he going to be the second coming of Luka? No, but he don't need to be. But Anthony Davis needs to be on the court to help Cooper Flag. And he went down. I hope it wasn't a long injury. I hope it didn't keep him out. It's not going to keep him out for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I hope not. But if you're a Mavericks fan, you have got to be frustrated. Thinking, why did we trade for this dude? But he can't stay on the court longer than a breath of wind that just flies away. I don't know. But Mavericks is one of my teams that I thought they would start off a little hotter than they were, and they haven't. They're sitting right now 2-3, but it's early, but they didn't start out as hot as I thought they would. And another team that's not starting out too hot, that at least I see, is the Cavs. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know what's wrong. I think it's injuries. You can say injuries. You can say there might be a little bit of execution issues. But they got blown out last night by the Boston Celtics on the road. You would think the Celtics, without Jason Tatum and all those changes they made, You think the Cavaliers would count themselves better, but they didn't. I know they didn't have Sam Merrill and Garland still on the man, but come on, you got Cavs sitting right now 3-2. Last year they did not lose their second game until game 19, and they've already got 2 game losses in their first 5. What's wrong with the Cavs? I mean, we can say a lot of things. I can say, injuries. We can say that. We can say lack of cohesion. We can say that. We can say the production that Darius Garland gives you, that they missing that. But it's early. But they are one of my struggling teams or disappointments coming out after 1 week in the NBA. Another team that's disappointing, thought it would start off better. I mean, we could say the Knicks. The Knicks are 2-2. You would think, hey, everybody was anointing the Knicks as the Eastern Conference favorite. Well, they started off 2-2 and they've lost their last 2 games. So what's wrong with them? I just think they don't play much good defense. That's what I think. They can light it up. They can fill it up. But they don't play good defense, especially with teams with big men, with big front lines. They don't play good defense against those type of teams. Those are teams that have been burning. Will they get that right? Early. Like I said, it's early. But that's the wrap up on the NBA. That's what it's looking like. It's still a little too early to gauge everybody. Some teams haven't won a game yet, like Brooklyn Nets, New Orleans Pelicans haven't won a game yet. But you can't think they're going to go the whole season not win. So everybody's still, working through things after first week or few days in the NBA. And I think we're going to see the cream rise to the top probably by late November, early December. We're going to see who's there in the mix and who is not. Now, tomorrow starts the NBA, that little in-season tournament, NBA Cup. Now, I've always wondered how serious these players take these games. I mean, because they still count towards the standings. But how serious is this? Do they go all out? It does look like to me that they do. But I think it's not really a big deal. The in-season NBA Cup, because only thing is the winning team of this tournament do is get a little trophy and some extra money. That doesn't mean they're going to be NBA champions. But the NBA Cup tournament starts tomorrow, so it's going to be interesting to see how these games play out tomorrow. And like I said, we're early. Right now, if the season stopped today, my MVP would be Victor Wembanyama. Right now. Now that might change. You still got Joker. You still got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the Thunder are undefeated. But right now, my MVP, my leading MVP candidate is Victor Wembanyama. What do you think? Is your NBA team struggling? I know mine is. Who do you think is the MVP candidate or the leading MVP candidate as of right now? We're only just a little past a week into the first season, or first week into the season. So things could change. I don't know. But hit me up, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. All right, time to get out of here. Now, tomorrow is, of course, Pick 'em Friday, where I pick my 5 select college football games, and I pick who I think is going to win them and who's going to cover. And I pick all the remaining NFL games for week 9. I do my picks tomorrow. I did better. I did better last week than I did, especially in college football. I think I went 4-1 in my college football last week. So I did excellent in my college football. I'm still working through my NFL picks. I'm still working through it. And one thing I know I'm not gonna do, even though they're on a bye week, I'm not ever picking the Browns to cover a spot ever again. That's out. Not doing it. I'm done with them. I'm done picking them to either win or cover a game for the rest of the season. Nope, ain't gonna happen. I'm done with that. I could have been over 500 with my picks if the Browns would have covered. But yeah, they get blown out by damn near 20 points. I'm done. I'm done with their ass. I ain't picking them to either win or cover a spot no more this year. And you got my word of that from the big O with the big mouth. I'll see y'all tomorrow with my picks in the Total Sports Ozone. Peace.